G'day, Brett here. Welcome to a new style of video, a vlogging style I'm adding to my channel. This will be in addition to the normal travel videos for national parks I typically do, and some of the how-to and defender related videos I add up. I thought for my 2019 trip I'd add this vlog style, more informal, just so you can see what's going on along the road. Because obviously a lot happens when I'm traveling that isn't included in a film, which is, I like to keep what happens in the national park as that part of the film and everything else is excluded. So this will give you a bit more of an eye as to how I'm traveling. Lets you join in on the journey. In case you can't do your own trip just yet, you can at least live through mine. Ask questions along the way. It's going to be very informal, guerrilla style, nothing too fancy with editing or camera work. Just me holding this GoPro typically and telling you what's going on. So, enjoy the journey. So I just made a 700-kilometre trip all the way out to Greenery, New South Wales, and back here again in the last day. That was to get my fridge fixed. Thankfully, the service centre for Engel in Moree is like a premium service centre, and they had some parts in stock. It turned out to be a power supply unit. So they fitted it straight in, and it's purring along beautifully. I just come back in to the campground set up. I just having a quick test of the radio. I've gone to just check my lights on the dash, and this is what's happened now. So I'm pretty certain it's not the batteries, because I can jump start from the secondary battery and nothing's come on the dash. So I'm thinking the ignition switch has failed. And this is a new ignition switch I replaced on my last trip in 2015. So I'm thinking it could have failed. So I'm going to have to pull this dash off, get my sort of look on the back there of the ignition switch and see what's going on. But that's why I'm doing a shakedown trip first before I head further inland, further west, where trying to get spare parts after Cunnamulla might be really difficult. So it's not a major issue. I can start this car, I can pull the ignition out and jump start a few wires. I've got plenty of 12-volt electrical stuff on board. I can, do a workaround. So I get to work and see if I can diagnose this problem, but I'm pretty certain it's the ignition switch. It's hard to get good quality parts at times. You pay good money, but some brand manufacturers are really going downhill. So let's get to work, and maybe tomorrow I'll be able to progress further on my trip. Now it's one of those things, I've had two different mechanics look over my vehicle. It all passed okay, if the issues, but of course once you hit some of these Outback tracks, it can be pretty corrugated, rough, things start shaking. It's probably the glue that holds the back contacts on the back of the ignition switch is failed and popped off. That's my guess anyway, because it's completely non-responsive, which is not right. It's not the starter motor, because I can get that going now and again if I hold it just right. The starter motor goes, but there's no lights on the dash, which tells me the other power supply is not working. Just wonder if that had anything to do with the Engel, but the Engel's on a completely separate system on my secondary battery, which is not connected to the primary battery at all. I ran completely separate wiring. It's interesting though that two electrical things fail, but again, new rough corrugations to tackle, so we'll see what happens. At least with my Defender, I feel pretty confident wherever I am that I can actually maintain it myself. I can do some repair jobs. If this was some new fangled electric system, I wouldn't know what to do. Could have been a sensor, could be anything. At least this I can quickly diagnose what the probable cause is and get to work. Okay, just pretty easy, you can see it here. I turn it like this. I just push my finger back on it and it disconnects. So it's just loose on the back. So thankfully it hasn't disconnected completely. Whoa. Hasn't disconnected completely, but I've got a glue on board, so I might just need to pull her off, get some iodite glue on it, really glue it down hard, and maybe put some extra duct tape around it as well, and that should secure it. So it's still repairable, thankfully. Hasn't fallen apart like the last one. So you see this movement here in the back, that's what's causing the ignition to shut off. The glue around here has sort of failed, and so that extra couple mil of play causes the ignition key not to lock in, and it won't hold its place. So an easy fix for me. Unfortunately I can't take it off to glue it because it's got security bolts and I've already snapped one of the bolts off, which would require me to drill it out again. I don't have probably a bolt the right thread and size, so I'll glue it in situ. I'll get some iodite made up, stick as much in there as I can, clamp it on and just wait, and that should hopefully get rid of the play. And then I'm back on the road. Easy fix. So I've reached in, pulled out my box number 2, which is all my spare parts and other emergency supplies. Should have iodite. That should do the job. Okay, I'll just stay here like this for now. Put some pressure against it. Might be 5 minutes or so, but once that first lot sets, I'll mix up a second batch and just do a double layer. Glue on glue. Really try and get it to stick. Last thing I want is this failing when I'm like driving on a highway and, you know, I'll pull out in front of a truck and suddenly my car stops, which is what could happen. So if he wants to do this, I might get some duct tape and try running some strips of duct tape around it just so it all stays together, but I think the iodite should do a pretty good job. So plan A didn't quite work. The glue doesn't seem to be holding very well, it just scratches off the surface, so I think it's too smooth. So I'm going to I've drilled out the one security bolt. I'm going to pull out the whole unit, and that way I can roughen it up with sandpaper, get it really nice and textury so the glue can actually hold on to something. Okay, it's done. Off the culprit. So that's about it for tonight. I'll do the rest tomorrow. The glue needs to be sort of warm to set off properly, and it's getting a bit too cold now. So it's a hell of a first week though for a shakedown trip, but that's why I did it. Before heading straight into Carwinia, where it's a bit more remote and the probability of getting parts or help is a lot more difficult. At least here I can still, you know, it's not too far to Koga or up to St. George. So anyway, I'll get my dinner on and then think about it tomorrow and get it all sorted. So it was my intention tonight to have a really good vegetable dinner because I had no fridge for a couple of days there really. Most of the vegetables are okay, but I did have to throw out some of the meat. But after a 350k drive today from Moree back to Koga Floodplains and then this, I think I'm just going to settle for an easy snag on bread. And then I'm going to lie down and read. Good morning. So the next day, this is Byra Lagoon I'm camped at the moment in Koga Floodplains National Park, just near the border of New South Wales, between St. George and Cunnamulla, basically. It's a beautiful little park, I think, but still in drought. It hasn't received any rain by the looks of things since I was last here about probably 8 months ago. I think it was October last year. So it's a bit dry and dreary looking. There's plenty of bird life around still. Just take a quick look at the part again. It's a bit easier to see now. See that play is what's causing it. It has these really poorly crimped off connections here. It meant to hold it together. Those are just, I guess, worn out. So that should be all the way down there. So I'll rough this up a bit more, put some more glue in, and try and push these together in further and see if that can hold it all together. And for those who are interested, this little bit here is your steering wheel lock. That fits into a hole and locks the steering wheel unless you got the key in. So, simple part, it's just, yeah, it's such a shame. I think it's a genuine Lucas part, but it's just not made for Australian conditions, those tiny little imprints to hold the backing plate on. And if that comes off, that's all your electrical contacts. That's the end of the driving. Well, that's got rid of most of the plate. Now glue it all in together again, file it up, glue it up just to double ensure it that it won't happen again. Just needs something you can hold on to, just too smooth. So I put all the glue around, whole way around, and all the little crimp areas, and that should hopefully get me through. So the saga continues. I was just putting it in, and one of these contacts on the back was kind of loose, so I did try fixing it before I put it in, but it's busted off and there's virtually nothing really left on the back contact for me to connect onto. I could try soldering it on, but this is already starting to tear through, so it's pretty much buggered, I'd say. Any repair I do couldn't really be trusted once I head bush further. So I think it may mean the end of this ignition switch. I do have soldering, but I think trying to solder this together probably wouldn't achieve much. That's almost completely gone through. Have a bit more think about it, otherwise I'll just do a quick little jump, what do you call it, jerry rig of some switching, and that will get the car going without an ignition switch, just a switch to turn it on and off. That's my option at this point in time. So the original switch is a complete bust. I've given up on it. It's a shame. It's only like 3 years old. Replaced it in late 2015 in my last trip around Australia, the first one. So it just sucks that these parts aren't really, good enough quality to survive Australian conditions. It's a genuine OEM, I think, Lucas part, but it's just not up to scratch. So never mind, I've got enough stuff on me to jerry-rig, MacGyver something together. I've got a switch. This will be my main kill switch. Got a few other connections I can use to just manually start the car. So I'll show you what I'm doing, put it together, and we'll get moving and keep progressing further on the trip. There's a small 3G Telstra phone cell just at the ranger base, so I can get on the phone and order a new ignition switch, and have it sent to Cunnamulla post office and pick it up there in a few days' time. That's the plan. Let's get to work. So this is a quick check to see what wires what. One of them will be a positive feed. So I put the battery back on. So this one it's non-power. This other big fat one, this would be power. And there's my 12.5 volts coming through. These three, one of these is my low coolant alarm. I've got two others. One's probably an accessory, and one's the relay to start the what do you call it, starter motor. So I'll have a quick look. I'll get some connections here. Double check that again. This one over here. Power in. Quick touch. This white and red one is the starter motor, and I'd say this white and orange one is for accessories. So I carry a bunch of these little double connectors that allow multiple connections to fit together, and I put a few of these together. So I've got the two main feeds, one power feed and one heading out. And then I've got the white and orange, which is for my accessories, my radio and a few other bits and pieces. And the red one for my low coolant alarm. I flip the switch on and all the power comes on. When I want to start the car, the red-white, that's for my starter motor. I can just touch it against here and I've got a car. And that's my jerry rig for the time being, so that's what I'll use until I get my new part in Cunnamulla. So I'll pack up all this now, head to the ranger base, make a phone call, see if I can get some spare parts ordered and shipped express straight to Cunnamulla post office. Ranger base is only about 300 metres away, so just a quick drive up. Now I'll get on the internet, see what the parts are, get just the price and give a place a call. It's just a simple part, it's easy to fix and bypass. I could probably keep travelling around Australia like this, but I'd rather have some sort of protection from my car being stolen if someone jumps in when I'm in a town and takes it for a ride. So this is the ranger base here, and it's got a nice little 3G signal, about 20 metre perimeter just near this information hut. So if you do come here and don't have a camping permit, you can log on your phone and buy a permit. So it's really helpful. Okay, a bit of a win. Turns out this end bit with all the contacts actually unscrews. So I've only just had to purchase this, so all my keys will remain the same. I won't have to buy any new keys, or I like to carry extra spare keys and that, just in case I lose them or they get stolen. But I ordered this, it's only about 50 bucks. I've got it express shipped to Cunnamulla. So by the time I reach Cunnamulla in another 4 or 5 days, it'll be there ready for me to pick up. Put 2 screws on the side, put it in the new one, reconnect the connections, and I'll have a car ready to go. Just another little thing that's needed fixing. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad. Otherwise, it would have been probably 150, 200 bucks for a whole entire steering lock column, which I don't want to have to spend again. So I'll tidy up here, head back to camp, and I think I'll relax the rest of the day. So all the parts are ordered, everything's going for now, and I'll continue my trip. Now, obviously, I had 2 different mechanics check over the car, did what I could, but just the corrugations heading in out this way took its toll on a part which wasn't really manufactured to a good standard that could withstand Australian conditions. You might be thinking, oh, it's a Land Rover, go and buy a Toyota or American Jeep or Mitsubishi or something. But then I want you to think about that. You bought some brand new car. My challenge is to you, can you fix it? If you pull up into camp and you stop, you go to start it again and it won't start, do you know where to begin to rectify the problem? Do you have any idea? I do. My car's very simple, it's straightforward. I can pretty much fix anything, stopping short of a major mechanical issue. But can you? Do you have any idea how your car even works, where the ECU is, where all the different engine sensors are? Do you know how to pull your dash apart? Do you know how to pull off all the plastic cladding on the engine? Can you figure out what's going on for some unknown reason the car stops working? Can you fix it? It's highly unlikely you probably will. If it's some little engine sensor and you're not carrying a spare, do you have a error code reader for your car? Does it have a list of what the error codes are? Do you know how to use that? So it might be an old car, but I can pretty much fix it wherever I am. I can run the car without electricity if need be. If there's a complete meltdown of all my wiring, I just pull the fuel stop solenoid out, remove the plunger and spring, put it back in, jack up a rear wheel, put it in probably first gear low range, put a tow strap around the rear tyre, give it a yank. That turns the diff, which turns the gearbox, which turns the crankshaft, which turns the engine over, and I should have a car running. It's purely mechanical. There's no reason why I can't keep on travelling. Try doing that with a modern day ECU controlled car. Yes, new cars are more reliable. Certainly the quality and build quality is far superior to what old English cars are, but I still like the ability to actually fix it myself and always know that I can, no matter where I am, stopping short again of a major failure of some mechanical part like an engine or gearbox failure, I can keep on going. So I'm not going to buy another car anytime soon. I'm still happy with the old Land Rover. It does take its toll occasionally on my wallet and my, I guess, emotional health as to how many times I can keep working on it and keep fixing it, thinking I'd finally done everything I can to get it good. But the bush does take its toll, so you can't expect a car just to keep on going perfectly without any issue. You know, wires chafe on bends of around corners or through firewalls if there's no grommet. Bush rats can get in, and then electrical components just fail, like my Engel fridge a couple of days ago. Worked perfectly fine right up until I went to bed. Woke up in the early hours of the morning and it wouldn't stop running, but it's just a power supply issue for whatever reason. It just decided to fail. But at least I have that option. I can get my car going again. But with your fancy new car, I don't know, can you? Can you do it without a workshop and a special diagnostic machine? So I'll stick with my old Land Rover for now. There's something for you to think about. Do you have an error code reader for your car? Do you have a good electrical kit with a multimeter and additional wiring so you can run reroutes? Do you carry spare engine sensors, all the major ones that are for your car, that if they fail, your engine will shut down? Carry those things. You know, it may just get you out of a jam, and if you're really in deep, save you thousands in recovery costs. I've got about $15,000 recovery insurance with my car through my insurance company. That's just in case, but hopefully I'll never have to use that, because I should be able to get my car going. So think about what you're taking into the bush and how prepared you actually are. We had a beautiful sunset, nice and in yellow. So I think tomorrow I'm going to head out to Nebbing Creek. I have to book a few extra nights, but I'll head along the main route, and then I can spend my last few days in Culgoa just at Nebbing Creek, which is a nice little spot, and finish off the last of my films before heading into Cunnamulla, preparing, and then onward into my trip for 2019, exploring Currawinja National Park. So now I've had a chance just to rest a bit. I'm going to have a really special meal tonight, full of veggies. This is the meal I wanted to have a night or two ago, but just didn't have the strength. Look at this. This is what gives you lots of energy in the bush, keeps you going. Got my pan heating up. I have to throw a snack or two on as well, and I'll be set for the night. And I can retire early, just before it starts getting too cold. Good night. I've stopped by Red Bank Hut just to see what's changed, and unfortunately a few people have stolen some of the bottles that were in there last time. Some of the really nice old bottles, so they're now missing. Which is a shame that, you know, other people now can't come and see a bit of heritage that was in place. Other than that, there's about another 3 or 4 dead wallabies. There's 2 dead ones inside the hut, another one over there, bits and pieces around, and one I filmed 8 months ago is still sitting over there. So just more death. There's no sign yet of any real water pooling anywhere. So it's just such a very dreary landscape at the moment. But I'll keep progressing in the trip. I might stop by the little section on Nebbing Creek I did last time where I filmed the wildlife and see if there's any water left in that section. So speak of the devil, here's some rain now. Certainly ain't much, it's very light cloud cover, but we're getting a few spits coming down. I have noticed as I drive along, some sections have actually held water and the track is really chopped up. So there have been some showers, which is good, but as far as the landscape goes, there's no sign of really the water having any effect on the plant life. It's like quite a good fence line they put in along this northern boundary. It's fairly new. A fair bit of money in it, I'd say. I'm at number 20 on the map, and there's a dam out here. And as I was driving, I could actually see that this landscape is a lot more greener. There's actually ground cover, little herbs in that. Let's take a quick look. It's still all fully fenced, but just look at this tree and just look how much ground cover there is. Like nowhere else have I seen this to date in Koga. So it's a beautiful spot here. The bird life. There's wrens and finches all just tweeting around. And here's a dam still with plenty of water in it, which is really great. Plenty of tracks all coming in around the edge. There's a lot of dead wallabies and kangaroos on the outside of the fence line who never made it in. There's probably only a couple of entrances in. That's nice though. It's beautiful to see greenery out here. If this is any indication of what Koga is like after rains, after all the drought is broken, it should be a beautiful spot. Just luscious green herbs across all the ground. Plenty of fresh pick for the animals. Otherwise it's a bit barren. I was just driving along and noticed a really intensely green tree in here, so I thought I'd just stop and take a look at it. It doesn't look like it's from the local area compared to the other trees around it, so I just wonder whether it's an introduced species or maybe some special little thing that's popped up. Take a little walk over. Do you know what it is? I've got no idea, but it doesn't look like it's really an Australian. Just the way, the glossiness and the sheer colour looks very different. Well, it seems this northwestern end of Koga Floodplains has actually had a decent enough amount of rain that I've got freestanding water in a few places now, just along this main track. So it's really great to see that at least there is something for the wildlife. It looks like it still needs a good bit more throughout the countryside to get the greenery up and get the food supply back up, but at least whatever animals have survived through the drought thus far have got a chance to keep on going a bit longer. Which gives me hope that that section on Nebbing Creek I filmed last time with all the wildlife, which was the last section with free water available, that may actually have water in it. But I'll keep on progressing. But there's bird life around, I hear some crickets. That's beautiful. So this is absolutely gorgeous. Completely transformed since I was last here 8 months ago. I now have waterfront view. Nebbing Creek's full. Not sure if it's flowing completely, but a massive section of water along this here. So that's wonderful. At least I can hear the wildlife chirping. There's a fair bit of activity around. Still haven't seen too many wallabies, so I'd say they took a big hit. Might be a while before they grow up in number again. But at least this, for now, is a good sign that the animals have something to go off until the full drought breaks and the rest of the landscape can regenerate and get enough feed growing. There's really not much height difference between the camping area and the creek, so I wouldn't want to be here if it started raining down pretty heavy. There's virtually no room for me to escape, but it is called Floodplains, so this whole area, you can see all the water has come across all this land and pooled up in the Nebbing Creek. All the trees have a bit of a watermark around the area, so it'll come up here at least whenever the flood did come through, the water. And it's gone back down. Yeah, it's good to see. A few bones scattered around the place, been washed around. This was a spot I camped last time. So it's a bit different now. If you look back at my videos, I parked right here for a good 4 or 5 days. Here's a nice big emu. See the size of the foot. Bit of a walk through the wet mud. This print is pretty fresh. It's still got all the little dots from underneath on its skin, all imprinted up and down the footprint. Might get lucky and see an emu come around later on. for a drink, but there's a good section here of water, so I might not see too much now they have options to go elsewhere now that I moved in the area. One thing I didn't have to worry about on my last trip was mosquitoes, but with all this water around, I'm already starting to feel a few come on me, a few bites. So I might be an early night, put my insect screen up, otherwise it won't look so pretty in the morning. Look at this beauty. Shame we didn't see any of these last time. Probably come out when the rain started and got stuck up here perhaps. One of the things I forgot to do before leaving Barwag Lagoon, and where I had access to the 3G network, was to check the weather. So this is a shakedown trip, and it has been 7 months since I finished my last trip. So I do tend to forget a few things, but I thought it'd be a good idea with all this cloud cover around. I'm pretty certain there's not going to be any big rainfall coming down, but you just never know. I might just be here in a bad time. So I'm going to jump on the HF radio. It's coming up to 4 o'clock for the afternoon skeds. And so I'll try and get a bit of a weather update and see what's going on in the area. Now, problem with the HF is that you never really know which base station you can get, or which base station you can reach and which frequency is going to get there. But I'm pretty certain where I am currently, I'd say Charters Towers or Charleville should be in a pretty good spot to reach. Just get the auto-tune antenna tuned up. And it takes another few minutes before the skeds start, and I'll try and call in, log my position, and yeah, get the weather update, see what's going on. So here currently there's a lot of background static and noise. So that can be one of the downsides compared to having a satellite phone, which would be a direct call to someone. But I pay this one membership fee, and then I've got unlimited calls to base stations. And if I needed to, it's really clear. So I shouldn't have to have any worry. So Charters Towers is coming through loud and clear, despite the background noise, but I can still hear the voice quite clearly. So I'll give a call into this and get the update.
This is BKS 737 Charters Towers, Australian National 4-Wheel Drive Radio Network Incorporated. And about to commence our regular voice check for today, Saturday the 8th of June. We have the latest weather and road information available at the requested. However, we cannot be held responsible for any events resulting from the use of this information. I'm now standing by for any voice contact. Standing by.
So now gradually different callers on the network will start calling in, logging their positions, getting updates. So I've got about, I can get up to probably 3,000 kilometre range. Completely depends on atmospheric conditions and frequency and base station. But it's a pretty good long range communication device. I'll stay here for probably another 4 nights. So if I can get a weather update, please, that'd be great. Yes, correct. Over.
Okay, stand by.
So you can get updates, roads, news, whatever you need. They've got a computer there in front. They just type in.
Looks like, hello, it's not coming up. Yeah, here we go. We got Saturday today. We got a clearing shower. Tomorrow's all sunny again, so it should be all fine up after tonight. And we've been getting the same here where I am, outside Kingaroy. It's just that drizzly sort of a rain, and yeah. But anyway, yeah, it should be all good tomorrow again. That's only 1 to 5 mil tonight. Well, today and tonight over.
Okay, all good for me. Some of the tracks out here have had some rain in the past and a bit chopped up. It looks like I'll be okay. Over.
Yeah, right up. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no worries at all. All right. Well, you enjoy it there, and where to after you leave Needing Creek? Over.
I'll head into Cunnamulla for a couple of days and then head further west. Over.
Okay, further west after that. No worries at all. All right, so thanks for that, Brett. And we'll catch
simple as that. So, got my update. Looks like everything's fine. You might be able to see, but I've got some emus come through, 4 emus. Just walk straight past the car. Just starting to get a run on now. That's nice though. Looking in really good shape. Look fairly young, so I'd say they're more of a young one's coming through. Spent all day yesterday shooting a film for my 4-wheel drive communication options and just doing the close-up shots now that I missed yesterday. And then I'll be able to finish editing it and hopefully have it ready to upload by the time I reach Cunnamulla. I think that's a wrap. I got all the shots. Now it's time to sit back and edit for the rest of the day, get it all nice, color corrected, and then on to the next film. The sun is setting, I think, on my 3rd night here at Nebbing Creek Campgrounds, and I just got to get my dinner on early because once that sun goes down the mosquitoes start coming out and it gets a bit brutal. There's always a few that get in the car with me and I'm still killing them right up until I go to bed. A beautiful spot here. I heard one car earlier today drive through, so I think it's a public holiday today, probably someone on a little weekender. But very quiet otherwise. No more sign of emus or no wallabies anywhere. But another day spent editing and filling in the little gaps of footage I needed to complete this film. That's it, time to head off. Leaving early, I'll finish off the rest of Culgoa on the way out and reach Cunnamulla, get my part from the post office and probably spend another 2-3 days there so I can finish researching Karawinya and see where I'll end up. Get everything sorted. Time to hit the road. I've just been into Cunnamulla to restock a little bit. My part hasn't arrived yet. It's only Thursday, so maybe even express postage just take at least another day. But I looked around and the cheapest campsite in the area I could find was Bowra Wildlife Sanctuary, a bit of a bird watching haven. So I've come out here. It's only something like $14 I think a night or something for unpowered campsite, loads of birds around. Otherwise I'm spending at least 34 bucks in town. So a cheap little option just outside of town. So head on in and set up camp and I'll spend a few days here and just relax and hope my part comes soon, otherwise I'm stuck until next week. So my fridge has stopped working, it appears again, which I'm really worried about. It would suck if the power supply had failed again. It would mean there might be something wrong with the car wiring, but I don't see how because it's very simple. It's completely separate from the main engine wiring, all separate harness. I got no idea why. It's working perfectly fine. Just went to bed and it just wouldn't stop running. So I tried taking out all the food and seeing if that helps in any way. Maybe something was pushing up against one of the refrigerant cells inside, not sure. But hopefully this is all fixed by morning or I'm in trouble. It might mean heading all the way back to Moree again. Or getting a new fridge. That's going to be a major blow to my budget. I'll see how this goes and sort it out in the morning. So I tried and the Engel won't work again. It's the exact same issue as last time. So it could be another blown power supply. So I've tried Cunnamulla, they can't take me in. There's a service agent here, they're booked out solid for the next couple of weeks. I managed to book into Charleville for next Tuesday, so I spend the next few days in Cunnamulla. Hopefully my ignition switch will arrive. Then I'm driving 200 k's north to Charleville. I'll have another look at this fridge and see if they can get it fixed. I checked on my solar regulator. I'm pretty certain the solar's working perfectly fine, so that shouldn't have been any reason why it would cause anything to fail. The battery's got holding its voltage, so it shouldn't be the battery. The dual battery system, I turn it on occasion, but I don't know why that would cause any issues with voltage. It's unless the alternator stuff, but everything else appears to be working fine on the car. So yeah, so hopefully Charleville can figure it out. And if it fails again, then it might just be it. That might be the end of it. I'll just have to travel the rest of 6 months without a fridge. I won't be able to afford to keep getting it repaired. So yeah, really let down. Just bought all new stuff yesterday. So some of this stuff is going to go off already. Nice big block of cheese there, one to hoe into. I've cooked all my snags already because they were starting to get a bit warm. I ate as much yogurt as I could and threw that out. So that's a real downer. Did I well. A few more days here. Finish off some videos, uploaded that for you. And we'll see how this saga ends. So I've been into Cunnamulla again and got success. Turns out this was there yesterday. Apparently the woman I asked didn't know where it was. So it was already there, but I got it today. And by the looks of it, it's actually a better quality one than what the original one was fitted with. The crimps on the back. And the back here are actually much better. It's fairly solid. When I got my replacement part 3 years ago and installed it, this back plate was already sort of wiggly. So this is much more harder. But what I'm actually going to do is get that glue out again, and I'll glue the 3 crimp areas anyway, and that will make sure it's rock solid for the next hopefully 10-20 years. I'll get to work and put this in, and that'll be one less thing that needs fixing, and it's just up to the fridge then. What did I do to deserve this? I am damned, apparently. The universe is against me doing this trip, it would appear. It should have been something simple, which is constantly just that never stops. So I got the part, and it's the right part apparently. It works, but I'm missing a piece now. This piece here is meant to fit into here, but at some point when I took the ignition switch off, I must have lost a piece. I did remember it, the pin fell out at some point, so I may have dropped something in the dirt and didn't see it. But on the end of this is meant to be a little keyway that fits into this, so the two can join up together. Because this doesn't fit in there properly, it just spins and does nothing. So at some point when I took this off, back when I was at the ranger base, and I discovered this comes off separately, I must have lost a piece. So still, I don't have an ignition switch. And I don't know if I can get that part individually. I just rang the mob I use and see if they can source one, but otherwise I have to buy the whole new steering column lock with keys and ignition switch anyway. I'll just have to buy the whole entire lot, which is another couple $100 down the drain. So that's an angle, it's twice screwed over. Ignition switch, that's twice screwed over. It's like the universe either doesn't want me to go and do this trip, or perhaps I'm just not meant to be there yet. Perhaps it's waiting for some reason. There's something I need to do or experience at some point. But it really, it's 14th of June at this moment. I've been on the road 2 weeks and I haven't even started the trip yet. I've just done a little bit of a shakedown, which was only meant to last like 5-6 days. I was meant to get there, do 5-6 days, head to Cunnamulla, and then head off into Carawinja and begin my filming in my 2019 trip. Every day I'm sitting around, I'm spending money. It's costing me money to sit here, and I can't really do anything. I can't see new stuff. So I have to question how long I can keep this up. Whether I have to cut my trip short at the end of the year, might not be able to make it all the way to Lawn Hill. I may have to pull up and start working again earlier. All these little things keep costing me money, keeps costing fuel to go back and forth. Just don't know. There's no other way around it. I can always just drive without it, but like I said, I'd rather have some sort of security for my truck so no one just jumps in and drives off with it. Now, it's a public holiday apparently out around Brisbane or Sunshine Coast, so they can't get many parts today. But currently booked in, I think I said, for Tuesday in Charleville. So it's a 200k drive north to Charleville to get my fridge looked at again. However many days that will take for them to get the parts there and fix it, if it is fixable, whatever, for the fridge. And in the meantime, then I can get the parts ordered, ship them to Cunnamulla. By the time I get back to Cunnamulla, I should have a whole entire new steering wheel column lock, which I just bolt in, attach the wires, and it's done. That's the plan. So I'll go back to my little bush retreat and just sit back and relax. I think that's probably the plan of the universe. Maybe I need to slow down. I'm just pushing too hard to get so much done. Maybe I just need to slow down. That's the message. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to help support the creation of more videos, please consider becoming a patron. Click on the Patreon button on the side now. Also, if you'd like to follow along on my journey and future travels, be sure to click the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching.